Welcome to the Jazz Roundtable, brought to you by Live at 0 BPM, with your host, Grammy Award-winning percussionist and mallet player, Billy Halting. Tonight's guest, it's the Jazz Roundtable number 12, History of the Jazz Guitar, Part 2, featuring Brad Rabuchin and Jeff Miley. If you care to donate, click on the donate/tip jar link in the description or on our website at liveat0bpm.com/tipjar. You can also tip on Venmo at ZEROBPM. And now, let's get to the music with your host, Billy Halting. Okay, there I am. Now we can go back and do the entire thing again. So just to say, that was a little technical difficulty on my part, but I am going to wear my headphones tonight so we don't get weird feedback and all that good stuff. So let me do that right now. But I was just saying that we are entirely tip-based, 100%. So whatever you can do, no amount is too small, no amount is too large. If you're watching live, you can do that. If you're watching an archive, if you're listening to the podcast, you can go to our website and give us a tip. I'll put the links up in the chat rooms on there. So, but let's get to this. We wanted to do the History of the Jazz Guitar Part 2 sooner than later. We were thinking about doing it in a couple of months, but we just got excited and wanted to finish it up because there's about 7 or 8 people on the list that we didn't talk enough about. We're going to talk about mostly people who emerged in the 70s and 80s. It's going to be a really fun thing. And I, of course, have our 2 favorite guitar players ever here. Let's bring them on. Hey, here it's Brad Rabuchin and Jeff Miley.
What's up?
Hey, everyone.
So, hey guys, how are you tonight?
Hey, Billy.
Great.
I got put the headphones on so I can hear them.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, they are in studio. Normally, this is the setup, the visual setup for remote guests, but these guys decided to come in the studio, so let's see what they look like there. There's the overhead shot. There's the other shot. So, and I can even put their names on the board, so you know who they are. Of course, it's Brad Rabuchin and Jeff Miley. You might recognize them from such shows as When I'm Not Here.
Yes.
They've played a bunch of times, and they host When I'm Gone, and they help run everything. And they've just been truly great supporters of all the live stream shows. And they're also 2 of the best guitar players in LA. Yeah, I said it. And they're so knowledgeable about all this stuff. So I'm really excited to have them here. And well, let's just get right to it. What do you guys want to start out with? You want to play something? You want to talk about somebody?
Well, I guess we should maybe talk a little bit because, because now we're kind of in the era of sort of at least for my roots, as far as getting into jazz, because this is sort of the first generation of guitar players to me that are kind of coming out of, they grew up hearing rock. They're not pure jazz from the day they were born. Guys, and we'll get into it. How they what their various influences are and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, Jeff, is that kind of your take too? I mean,
totally. I mean, these guys all, they heard the Beatles and everything after that, Clapton. They heard all that stuff, so they had a different frame of reference, I guess.
Because we were talking about people like Wes Montgomery or Joe Pass or Charlie Christian or Django, Kenny Burrell, all the different people that we were talking about previously. All those people really, they're kind of coming from jazz from the beginning, and not that they didn't have other influences, but now we're going to be talking about Pat Metheny, John Scofield, Bill Frisell, Alan Holdsworth, Mike Stern, Ralph Towner, John Abercrombie, John McLaughlin. Those are some of the guys we want to talk about today, and all of them. You can hear it in their playing, and also just in their generation of, that they played Beatles songs or Stones songs or Elvis Presley or whatever, and there's that influence, even though they're jazz players, and they're coming from a jazz place, as
Agreed.
But there's this sort of mix of other stuff going on, and sort of new ways to think about the guitar, starting to use effects. Starting to not just use the classic jazz guitar, big hollow body.
Solid body like this.
Yeah.
Or later you'll see Brad play a telly.
Yeah.
So different guitars, different sounds. Maybe, the traditional jazz guitar tone is real pure and clean and warm, and then these guys got into all kinds of other stuff, brighter sounds.
Yeah.
And you name it.
Yeah, well, it's a killer list. And so why don't we just start going through them? I'm not going to jump in and interject too much tonight, but I would like to, with each guy, not only talk about what they did for the instrument and for the genre, but when people listen to them, what should they be listening for? How did they influence you personally would be great. And what to listen for when people are listening to them. Because I'm going to put all these guys up and links to the specific songs they talk about in the show notes. So when this is live, I'll put the show notes up as I can, probably tomorrow, but also the podcast version doesn't actually get done until Friday. I probably won't have that done. So anyway, but if you're listening to the podcast, you can check it out if you want to get links on all these guys, and then you'll know that much more about them. So who's first on the list, guys?
Well, I think we're gonna start with Pat Metheny, and we're gonna do a song called "Question and Answer," and I think we're gonna. At least speaking for myself, I'm gonna play like myself, but I'm also gonna try to channel each tune. I'm gonna try to sort of bring elements of whatever player we're playing, and also we're talking about people which are pretty big influences on my playing, and I think for you,
Me
Jeff, as well. So like
for sure.
Like for instance, this song is a song that I transcribed and learned, and made a chart for, and you probably did the same thing. I don't know.
I did, yes.
In fact, that might be my chart.
This is your chart, actually.
Oh, that is my chart.
Yeah, handwritten by Brian.
Oh, handwritten. yeah, and
in my tablet.
Yeah, but anyway, some things to listen to for me is there's since might as well talk a little bit about it before we play. So there's sort of a. Metheny's, he's from Kansas or Missouri.
Missouri.
I'm sorry,
He's from
Missouri. Okay, somewhere, all the states, that area.
Kansas adjacent.
Yeah. And so there's a real, there's a kind of a country and Americana influence.
Yeah.
In his playing, and there's sort of like a lot of open chords and stuff, and you'll hear that there's a kind of like some pedal things happening, which means sort of a repeating note.
Yeah.
But yet, like the bridge is actually coming from Giant Steps. So jazz is in there too. Giant Steps, the famous John McLaughlin, John Coltrane tune. I'm thinking about guitar players.
Yes.
Anyway, so I guess is there anything you want to add?
I could say one. Talking about harmony or the way guitar players play chords. Mm-hmm. This tune starts it's in D minor, and the intro is in D minor. If this was a more traditional jazz tune, or composition or player, I'd think of a sound like this, maybe, yeah, or maybe something like this. Well, Metheny's intro is this. I think open is a good description.
Yeah, he's using the sound of the guitar.
He's using the way the guitar resonates, and he's putting open strings and simple intervals. This is just the interval of a fourth. That's his D minor sound.
Right.
So it totally sets up a different vibe, I think. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. 1, 2.
Yeah, guys. Very cool. Yeah, that's such a great tune. What's the name of that one again?
That's called Question and Answer.
Yeah, that's a kind of a classic Pat Metheny thing.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear you guys play like yourselves, and obviously we can hear the influence. So,
yeah.
But when people are listening to Pat Metheny, what should they be listening for? I mean, you already mentioned the openness of his voicings and things like that, but anything else?
Well, he's very just beautiful. He just creates beautiful phrases and melodies as he's improvising. A lot of his stuff. You'll be sitting at the concert, and if you hadn't heard the recording or knew the song, you'd sometimes be hard pressed to know which parts are improvised and which are written out. He's just so always thinking and creating, and just really, which I think is the best solos, if they just sound really musical. And
yeah, well, it's melodic, and it sort of transcends the scales and and the technique and stuff.
Yeah,
because some problem people have with any style, and particularly jazz, is just sometimes it just sounds too much like what's happening. In other words, like, oh yeah, that's an arpeggio, that's a scale, and really he's playing, and other great players obviously too, but it really sort of transcends like even what it is, and he'll play something real simple, and he won't be embarrassed by it.
Right.
Which and he's one of the great players as far as connecting with a non-musician audience as far as jazz. I'm always struck by when I go to see him is that there's people of all ages and all walks of life there, whereas some other guitar players we might talk about, you might go there and it's mostly other musicians and guitar players, So.
Yeah, I've seen him in venues like 5,000 people there.
Yeah, like
it's
the
like
Greek
going,
Theater
it's going to
come
like
and play, which is like
and it's like
12,
an event.
I think.
He really knows how to connect.
Yeah,
it's really cool, I think. So
yeah, something we need to remember.
Yes, we do.
I mean, I think I mentioned before that when I was on the road, I saw the Letter from Home tour like 3 times. Yeah. And just blown away. It's a long 2.5 3-hour concert.
A long letter.
And just great. And things I've always loved about his melodies are just long.
Incredible.
They aren't a 4-bar pattern repeated. It's these ideas just soar and soar and soar. So cool. Well, any last words on Pat Metheny before we move on?
Well, just related to everything we just said, I would say he's the king of the perfect set list. Like, he can put together a close to 3-hour show that leaves people wanting more. Like, it's over before you know it.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So, well, let's go down the list. And another one of my favorites, John Scofield.
Yes. Another amazing musician. What do we say about Scofield?
Well, I think, one interesting thing about, so we're going to talk about Metheny and Scofield and Stern and Frizzell. And these are all guys that are basically the same age.
Yeah, true.
Born 54, 55,
1954 was a good year for guitar players.
And it's just interesting because and they've sort of interacted with each other and stuff. There's a lot of interesting music where you can see, 2 or more of them playing together, whatever. But again, Scofield. So Metheny sort of has this, Midwestern sort of country and sort of Americana vibe, and Scofield, there's more of an edge to his playing. He's and I'm not sure exactly where he's born, but I believe it's somewhere like Connecticut or somewhere on the East Coast.
Back east somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere back east, and so there's kind of a blues kind of edgy thing about him, and whereas Metheny to me is very smooth and very flowing, Scofield is kind of jagged and kind of awkward, but in a cool way. And I kind of think about sometimes like the to do anything really well, you sort of need to find who you are and reflect that. And Metheny's kind of a smooth, kind of cool guy, and Scofield's kind of a big guy, and he's kind of like
he is a big guy.
He's kind of like, I don't want to say awkward, but he's sort of not. He's not a ballerina, and it's sort of his playing is not. It's I love it. It's beautiful, but it's sort of like almost like teetering on the brink of disaster all the time, but
it's exciting.
But it's exciting. I'm kind of making it sound, but that's what I love about it. It's like, and he's sort of, I think, found sort of his, and he kind of has this sort of cool, twisted sense of humor, and it sort of comes through in his playing also.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy who walks across the tightrope wire that's strung between the tall skyscrapers with no net. And he's like, screw it, I'm going.
Yeah. But he's kind of wobbling.
But he makes it.
Yeah.
Every time he makes it.
Cool. So, you're going to play a little bit of a piece of his.
Something he wrote, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first tune was written by Matheny, by the way.
Yes.
And now this one, Since You Ask, is written by Schofield. And I think what's cool about it is so I'm going to start with sort of intro, and because it's sort of a classic, kind of bluesy but kind of twisted and kind of jagged, but still melodic combination of chords and melody.
All right.
So here we go.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And so I'm kind of trying to get. So he'll typically have maybe a little bit of chorus and a little bit of edge on his sound, and so I'm sort of trying to bring, whereas Matheny, I was trying to be a little more smooth. Now I'm trying to be a little more jagged. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get my position.
Yeah. Well, you can hear the in-studio audience love that.
They love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's
not to love?
Really beautiful tune.
Can I make a quick comment about
You
playing
may.
music with other musicians?
Yes.
So, and I'm lucky to live in. We're all lucky to live in LA with all these great musicians here. But, I didn't mention this, but on the first tune we played, when I soloed, I didn't want to take 2 choruses, but it was I didn't stop. So all of a sudden I'm into the second chorus.
You're committed.
And I don't want to be improvised. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to keep going. So then in my brain, I said, well, let me just do something a little different and see what happens. And then Brad just kind of like started weaving in and out, and it kind of turned into this cool I don't even know what it's called, but it was what I was hoping would happen. And just now on this, all of a sudden Brad goes, hey, should we both take an A? And so that's what we did.
Nice.
And then I heard him play the melody, and I was like, oh, maybe we should just go to the coda now. And we did. So, if you play with good people, things just work out. I guess that's my point.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. You can trust that they're not going to get lost, and you're not going to get lost, and that when you do something, they'll probably hear it, and you'll all still be together, and that makes me very happy.
Well, speaking of that,
so thank you, Brad.
Sure.
There's
got your back, and you got mine.
Yeah.
There's a John Scofield, Pat Metheny record.
There is.
Yeah,
Yes.
I Can See Your House from Here, I think is what it's called.
It's an amazing.
Yeah,
album,
Yeah,
too,
and
yes.
it's really so much interaction and musicality in it, so it's really worth checking out.
It is very, very cool.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a quick break here and say hello to the people who are watching the video, because of course our regulars are here, but these are not regulars in order. But Karen from Nashville just showed up. She said to say hello. Hillary is here, and she's in Boston. Kim Cowhuggett, who's one of our kind of monthly sponsors, is here. Hi, Kim. And then Jennifer, who you might know, Brad, is here.
Yeah.
Mark is here, and so is Jim. Jim was having some trouble on the Facebook side of it, so hopefully he jumped over to YouTube, or he'll watch it later. Yeah. But Phil, of course, from Ontario, Canada, is here.
Hello,
Toby,
Phil. Hello,
Toby is
Toby.
here, and of course she mentions Brad's shirt. Like, can I get a close up of Brad's shirt?
Get that. Yes.
Brad's gig shirt game is fire. As the kids would say, it's a bunch of cats. It's a great shirt. He's got a bunch of new ones, so it's been awesome. Let me go back to where are we? Here we are. Let's see who else we got here. We got Bunny, who's watching. Hey, Bunny, she's a friend of mine. She's an acoustic guitar player that comes to the Tommy Emmanuel camps, and she just got back from a big acoustic guitar week somewhere. She feels like she's right back in it, so that's kind of cool. And then Wes Fan is here, and I know Wes Fan. I'm just basing on the proper name. So hi out there,
Mark.
So the instant arrangements, and she's. Trying to tip here. The website isn't letting me identify the band. Well, it's the Jazz Roundtable number 12 is what you will be tipping for out there. So that's just, anybody that tips on anything tonight just goes to whoever's on the screen. So I will put that tip jar up, and I will double check it too during the next tune. So anyway, I wanted to say hi to everybody out there, and so let's get back to the show. Are we moving on to our next contestant here?
I think so. We are. Yes.
Okay, and that is Bill Frisell.
You got it. Yes. How do we describe Bill Frisell?
Well, we were talking a little bit before this, and we were talking about Jeff Beck, and it suddenly occurred to me, like, Bill Frisell is the Jeff Beck of jazz.
I've never heard that before, but I love it.
Can you tell us why?
Why? Well, because Jeff Beck, is sort of, he's been one of the great rock guitar players of all time, right? And he's been killing it since the mid '60s, from the Yardbirds through the Jeff Beck Group, through all the different albums, and he's always doing different stuff. And what's so great about him is he's just got such imagination for sounds and playing just little things, and it's not like he necessarily plays something crazy fast or something, but it's just always beautiful and cool or weird. And Frisell's exactly the same way. He's like, kind of, you're almost sometimes wondering, well, what is he even doing? But he's just so good at fitting in and finding quirky little things that no one else would think of, and just weird little harmonies and chords and voicings, and he's just, really all the people we're talking about to me are very distinctive. Like, I know them, from from the 3 notes or whatever, but you were saying, I can see your house from here. What's interesting is that session actually was booked twice, and the first time, Matheny couldn't make it, so Bill Frisell stubbed for him, and they did an album called Grace Under Pressure.
Oh yeah,
which is
also a great album.
Which is also 2 guitars, bass, and drums. But Schofield and Frisell.
Yes.
Anyway, anything you want to say about Mr. Frisell?
Just that, he's always surprising. He's full of surprises, and again, I think maybe all these guys is that they're very fearless. And I'll tell you a cool, just quick thing is one time I went to see Bill Frisell Trio in Santa Monica at my place. I don't know if you remember that club. And the band comes out and they start playing, and it was electric bass, electric guitar. The bass and guitar, they had their volume all the way off, so it was like this loud. In that big club, right? Wow. And then they slowly started. I think it took almost 3 minutes to do like a crescendo up to actual band volume. Yeah. And then they started the tune, and I was just like.
But everyone had left by then, right?
Yeah. No, but it was just like they drew people in. Everyone at the bar stopped talking, and they're like looking like, what's going on? And that's some discipline and some talent to pull something off like that. So. And he's just constantly doing things like that, just always surprising you with something unexpected or beautiful or ugly or whatever,
Yeah, well, all these guys we're talking about, they're all sort of masters of sort of reinventing themselves over and over and finding different combinations and different contexts to play in. What I want to say, but the other thing I would say about him is just he's the master of space too, of just like leaving, not playing, or just playing a couple notes, and Jeff Beck, going back to Jeff Beck, that's one of the things why, they sort of share in common.
Yeah, he's got an album, or he's definitely done some touring in a trio with no bass player, just drums, guitar, and a horn. And I remember reading an interview, and they said, is that hard to do? Like, because myself included, I would feel pressure to like try to play a rudimentary bass part. And he's like, no, like I don't even worry about the bass part. I just play what I normally play, and it works out. And I was like, oh man, I wouldn't have thought about it that way. So let's play this tune that he wrote.
What are you gonna play?
This is Strange Meeting, and this is a composition by Frisell, and so I'm switched to a solid body guitar because a lot of times he plays Telecasters. He plays a lot of different guitars, but Telecasters most commonly, which is what this is.
Hey, can we vamp in on the last 4 bars?
Okay.
For a little while, is that cool?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, cool.
All right,
instant arrangement.
Oh.
Yeah, what a great tune.
Yeah,
really cool chord changes on that one.
Aren't they nice?
Yeah, so that's fantastic. But anything else you want to say about Bill Frisell?
Sure. This is a C minor chord.
Yes.
This is a Bill Frisell C minor chord. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah. He's again using open strings, and like he's got what's cool about that, he's got the C, and then he's got the flat 5, and then he's got the natural 5 right next to each other, which you're not supposed to do that.
He's breaking all the rules.
That's if I'm glad the doors are closed because the police could pull us away.
The chord police.
Yeah. So he's he's just always looking for these tensions. A lot of actually him and Schofield both to me share this thing of like they really like these intervals like things that are sort of edgy and like ninths and seconds.
They make it work.
Sevenths.
That's very cool. Well, hey, we have a couple of people who have tipped.
Cool.
So I want to say hi to Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. She's tipped. And Mark has also tipped, and he said he must have missed part 1, but it's on the archive page. If you go to live at 0BPM, and that's live at ZeroBPM.com, you'll see the archives is up there. You just click on that. You can see every show. This is show 77 that we've done. Whoa, so
that's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you, Mark, for that. And some other people. Lori is watching us as well, and I'm trying to see if anybody new has shown up. And I haven't seen anybody, or they're not saying hi if they are watching. So anyway, they're lurking. They're lurking. Well, this is going great. We should move on. Well, actually, I'm going to take a second and do the commercial.
Cool.
Is that okay? I'm going to talk about who is coming up on the show. So let me get to this. And yeah, so this Thursday, 2 days from now, Conganas, which is they call themselves the Full Orchestra Latin Quartet. Yeah. They are amazing. The amount of sound that comes out of this. The piano player Simón Fermín Cifuentes is from Cuba. He's an amazing singer and piano player. And there's a trumpet player who also sings. Enzo Villa Paredes is the trumpet player. And then Christian Moraga on drums plays a hybrid kit that will blow your mind. And Rene Camacho, who's played with every famous Latin jazz all-star ever, is playing bass. So that should be really fun. Cool. And then next Thursday, Ken Wilde, the great bass player, and Tom Rizzo are going to be here. And I know Ken really well. Ken has played on a billion films and stuff. He used to be in the band Seawind, but he toured with Natalie Cole, toured with all sorts of people. So that should be great. And then we're going to take a week off. I'm going to be out of town. We're just going to let the studio relax for a week. And then I hate to do that, but we're going to do that. And then Sippin' Time is coming in. That's Larry and Nikki Steen with Yaron Levy on guitar. And Chris Blondell is going to be playing kind of a cajon percussion sort of kit. That'll be kind of a, what do they call it? A bluesy, jazzy soul experience. That'll be fun. And then later on in October, we're still booking October. I got a couple of guys that are checking. But Mike Hoffman, the guitar player, is going to be here with Chris Wabich, and we don't know who's playing bass yet. So that'll be fun. Okay, enough of the ads here. Let's get back to the guys and the matter at hand. Jazz history. Oh, see,
since we're not playing any of this,
they're doing an instant arrangement right now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. That's kind of fun. So who is the next guitar player in line?
Next is Mike Stern.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. I'm out of order here. My list doesn't have. Great. So let's.
That's what we were just talking
We're editing.
about. We're editing our show.
Well, you're editing the list
in real time.
Yeah. Now, Mike Stern is one of my personal favorites. I just love everything he's ever done. So what do you have to say about Mike?
Well, let me say one thing first. I made one mistake in the History of Jazz Guitar Volume 1. Mm-hmm. Where I said that Django, when he burned his hands, that he wasn't a guitar player, but actually he played from very young.
Okay.
So a friend of mine corrected me, and I just wanted to get the record straight. So even though he burned his hand when he was a teenager, so he could only play with two fingers, basically, he was already a guitar player at that point.
So he had to learn how to play.
Yeah. So then he had to learn how to play with two hands. But I said that he played guitar after that. Anyway, so
okay. Well, we'll print a retraction and everything will be okay.
Disclaimer.
Okay. Anyway, back to Mike Stern.
Okay.
Tell us about.
Mike Stern. Well, Mike Stern. Well, one thing I want to say, is there's an interesting connection between three of the guitar players, because if we get to John McLaughlin and also Mike Stern and Schofield, they all played with Miles, early in their career, and sort of, so that's one thing that they had in common. And anyway, to me, Mike Stern he's sort of like the entry path for a lot of people to get to jazz from rock because maybe more than anyone else, he sort of really is able to sort of directly transplant like classic blues and rock type licks right over jazz changes, and then seamlessly mix them with bebop, a whole intense bebop and modern jazz vocabulary, and it's sort of and so a lot of like rock players when they hear him, it sort of makes sense even if other jazz didn't make sense to them.
They can relate to it.
So he's brought a lot of rock guitar players into jazz for good or ill,
thing,
and well, I mean,
I'll say this
but
about
you can
Mike
say some
Stern
stuff.
is, man, he's just got so much energy in his playing, and I remember seeing him a long time ago, and I was still pretty young, and I was just kind of starting to get into jazz, and it was Dennis Chambers on drums, Bob Berg on saxophone, Lincoln Goins on bass,
so early on.
also at my place.
Early on, I was probably there.
You probably were there, yeah. A lot of people I talk to them are like, "Oh yeah, I was there." Like, but I just remember every song. I thought, it can't get any more intense than this. These guitar solos go on 5, 6, 7 minutes, and he doesn't let up. He's just got seems like this endless reserve of energy to put out there, and the band is just going crazy. Song ends, everyone freaks out, and then next tune he'll do it again. Then he'll do it again. He's just got. I'd never seen someone do that.
Well, I saw him live in New York. He used to play at a place called Bar 55, which they call the Dump.
Oh, yeah.
The Dump.
That's the place to see him,
I guess he played every Tuesday night or something like that.
For many years.
You go in there, and, this is when New York was $40 to get in, and the drinks were $15 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But you go to the Dump, and it was $9, and it included a drink ticket.
Right.
And so my buddy Chris and I are sitting at the bar, and we're literally like 6, 7, 8 feet away from Mike Stern, and they're set up on the floor, this funky little place. There's no stage or anything. And my buddy, I don't remember what the order was, but he says his sets are always, a standard, a ballad, the blues, and he had a set, and he did that.
4 tunes.
Yeah, and we were sitting just literally 10 feet away from this greatness in this dumpy little. It was a dump, and it was such an amazing experience. But just like Jeff said, he would just bring you in with these solos and that sort of, and I can't remember who was playing it, but I did see him also at Catalina's with, I think it was Lincoln Goins on bass. I might have been Bob Mintzer on tenor, and it was
maybe Dave Weckl or
no, it was
no, that's probably
the guy you just mentioned.
Dennis Chambers.
Dennis Chambers on drums, who played the most joyful drum solo I've ever heard in my life.
Of course.
One of those. Mike Stern does a lot of these things where they do this rhythmic thing at the end. All playing a unison single note line, and the drummer solos over it. And Dennis Chambers was having so much fun messing with them. It was I will never forget that that solo. Anyway, but we're here to talk about the guitar playing. So, you guys going to play a tune of his?
We are. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to say a couple more things, although the playing is fun. So he's kind of the opposite of Frizzell. So where Frizzell is sort of leaving space and very relaxed. I'm just saying, he's like Jeff was saying, he's just sort of in your face. Yeah. And so it's sort of interesting little anecdotes about him. So he like lives and breathes guitar 24 hours a day. So like when he's touring, he'll in between, he'll like call people up and have them come jam in his hotel room, or
right.
or he'll be playing, and he's constantly practicing and playing, and year or so, maybe 2 years ago, he was in New York and he fell.
Oh yeah, he broke his
wrist.
He
fell, on the street, and broke both his wrists and really damaged his hands and his wrists and his arms really.
He slipped
big
on
time.
the ice.
And it had some operations and stuff, and he was really having a hard for a while. He didn't know if he was going to play, but finally he after really working on stuff, he figured out, well, he couldn't really, his left hand came back, but his right hand is still pretty messed up. But he found a way to like actually glue a pick onto his hand when he's going to play. Uses glue from I guess it's wig glue, so that it's not permanent. But he has to have to glue a pick onto his hand to play. But he's still touring. He found a way to play.
That's some dedication.
No matter what.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Anyway.
That's inspiring.
Well, you guys want to play a tune? What are you going to play?
Yeah, so we're going to play Suspone, which is a Mike Stern tune over rhythm changes. See if I can play this head. And it's anyway. What's interesting about it is it's got this. What I'm talking about this combination of elements of blues and bebop, and then and I'm playing a Telecaster, which is typically what he plays. You know, the Yamaha version of a Telecaster. Anyway, let's do it.
Fantastic. That's a really fun one.
That's a crazy little melody.
That is. Very cool. So any final words on Mike Stern before we move on to, I have a feeling we're going to go a little past 8 tonight.
I think we will. Yeah, we got a couple more. So.
Yeah, let's do it. I think we got a small but powerful audience out there, and they're digging it. So this is a really great episode. This is a little bit more music than normal in our jazz roundtables, but I'm digging it. And, if the audience likes it, we'll do more shows like this, and having guys in studio instead of just the remote thing. So, ooh, it's acoustic time. Yes. And I think we're good to go. I'll adjust some levels if I need to, but I'm pretty balanced from sound check. So. But, while you guys are tuning up, I will say that Joyce showed up, and she says hello. So, hi, Joyce.
Cool.
And Toby put up the link to the merchandise. So, if you need a Live at 0 BPM t-shirt or a hat, the hats are very nice. They're hand-embroidered. Not hand-embroidered, but they're embroidered. They're very, very cool. So, they're on the website, and that goes to help me pay for the live stream. The software and all the stuff that goes into it. So... if you want, you can find that on the website as well. I'll do a hard sell on that. I got to recut my commercial though. It's due. But who are we talking about now, guys?
We're going to Ralph Towner.
Okay, okay, cool.
I'm feeling a little schizophrenic at this point.
Oh, wait, before we do that, I got to go back to Mike Stern because Wes Fan wrote that Mike Stern tripped when he was walking across a construction site.
Oh.
6 months later, he recorded a CD, which he titled Trip.
Oh, my gosh.
I love that. So.
Yeah.
And Jim Rolfe just showed up and says, Brad, you have my telly.
Oh, yeah. It's similar. Yeah, he has one similar color.
Cool.
In fact, you better check in your case, Jim, because yours might be gone.
Okay, let's get on to who are we on now? We're on Ralph Towner.
Yes. So something different about Ralph Towner is that he doesn't play electric guitar. Well, he probably does at home, but
I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't. He's known for
because he doesn't even. I've never even seen him use a pick.
He plays nylon string classical guitar. He's classically trained. He doesn't use a pick, so he plays in the style of all those masters like Andre Segovia and Pepe Romero and all those guys. And he plays 12-string acoustic guitar, which is also very unusual for this type of music.
Right, and almost no one plays a 12-string with fingers because it thrashes your nails.
Yeah,
because you need nails is key to playing fingerstyle.
So the thing cool is, at least for me, the thing that's cool about Ralph, not just his sound, which is incredibly beautiful, and I love the sound of classical guitar, but and 12-string guitar. For me, it's his harmony, and he really maximizes the acoustic resonance of the instrument. So I was just thinking of an example, like a C. If I wanted to play, I'll just play a couple chords, like a jazz type chords. If I wanted to play an E minor 9, maybe I'd do something like this.
Ooh, I need more volume out of you.
Oh, wait, hold on. How about this?
Much better. Thank you. There you go.
If I wanted to play an E minor 9 in a more traditional way, I might play something like this. And then a C major 7, like with a sharp 11, I'd do something like this. Right? So what Ralph would do is he would move the notes and those chords around so he could get a bunch of open strings. In other words, not pushing down with your fingers. So he would take this note, put it down here instead. And then you get, instead of this, you get this. It's the same chord, but one of the notes has been moved an octave, and now you get 4 open strings. And then for the C major, just add this finger. So you get that instead of this. And he's got hundreds of chords like that, just with just beautiful, ringy overtones, and just, I think it's the coolest thing ever. So I've stolen a lot of chord voicings from him for sure. So, you want to say anything else about him?
Yeah, well, I think he's kind of the Bill Evans of jazz guitar, because Bill Evans was sort of known for sort of creating interesting harmonies and like closed voicings, because one of the reasons why that voicing that Jeff just played is cool too also is because the notes are close together. In other words, they're instead of the notes being spread apart, they're so like close together notes, meaning they're
on a piano they would be almost all right next to each other that.
And that creates a cool sort of tension. Even in a more normal chord, it sort of sounds more tense.
Like here's 4 notes out of an E minor scale.
Right. Yeah.
They're in the chord. You can't do that without using open strings. So it's a really cool. It is very kind of pianoistic.
Yeah. And he's a fine piano player.
He's
he studied piano and also.
So we're gonna play a tune that he didn't write.
Yeah. But
it's named after him.
Yeah, this is called Ralph's Piano Waltz because it was written on Ralph Towner's piano at his house by John Abercrombie, who's another guitar player that we're gonna. We should mention.
We should talk about him right now before we start.
Yeah. Who's another one of sort of this same generation of guitar players, and a real interesting player. And Ralph and Abercrombie played a lot in a duo configuration.
And which at the time was rare to have.
Yeah. Just 2 guitars.
Two guitars and an electric guy and a guy playing a 12-string.
Electric and acoustic.
Classical.
Yeah.
And as we learned on the last Jazz Roundtable, which was Jazz French Horn, Ralph Towner also plays French horn.
He does play French horn.
Joyce reminded me of that. Thank you, Joyce.
I forgot about that. And he's an amazing composer, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very special. Both those guys.
Yeah.
And John Abercrombie, we should mention, he kind of, wouldn't you say he's sort of, I don't know, like the older brother of Schofield and Metheny and those guys.
Yeah, he's a couple years older than when I was saying all those guys are kind of the same age. He's a couple years older, and he sort of was on the scene just before them. Yeah. And I think it was pretty influential, particularly with, I think all of them, Metheny, and we're talking about Metheny, Stern, and Schofield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as one of the first guys to sort of play, more open style, more incorporating these different things that aren't necessarily directly jazz, traditional jazz.
Yeah. And he's actually the first guy I ever heard of or saw play a Les Paul. Jazz guy,
Right.
What is he doing with that guitar?
Yeah. In other words, he's sort of because people were starting to play solid bodies, like we said earlier, and he was doing it early on.
So we owe him a lot.
Yeah.
So this is his song, written on Ralph Towner's piano. I guess
that's the story. Yeah.
All right.
Titled. And we're using Charlie Hayden's chart.
Charlie Hayden's chart, and we're using Billy's
guitar.
Blue Fender.
That's my
awesome
blue
acoustic
Fender
steel
guitar.
String. Because I opened my case and I got a broken string on my other guitar, so Billy saved the day.
Well, our full service studio here, so
yes,
whatever you need, we got it. Okay, guys,
so
take it away.
cool.
That was really nice. Yeah, that people were really commenting on that. Joyce made the comment that Ralph's songs are haunting and dreamy.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Jennifer said beautiful, and Phil got you has a new nickname for you, Jeff. It's Spider Fingers.
All right, I'll take it.
Jeff Spider Fingers Miley. I have to change your name tag on the. But yeah, that was very cool. That very, very nice. So
yeah.
Any other words about?
Well, I'll just say another random musical thing, which is, since this is a pseudo educational experience here, the coolest thing about playing with other human beings is when unexpected things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that tune, I barely heard it, but I think we were just kind of like playing the head out, and we got to this chord, and I'm pretty sure Brad said stay there. Is that what you said or something?
I did, yeah. I said keep going.
I think he said stay there.
I said stay there, yeah. I just said. Yeah.
I was like, did he just say that? I was like, okay, well, I'll just stay here. And then I just stayed on that chord, and then that was the end. That's how we ended the song.
Nice.
Stuff like that is always fun, and if you keep your, don't have an agenda and keep your ears open and your mind open, things like that can happen, which I think is cool. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Is it time to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got one left.
We actually have, well, you mentioned John Abercrombie, but you have two others we haven't talked about yet.
Well, we remember we edited our show.
Oh, you did? Okay. So who do we have?
We've got John McLaughlin.
Okay. Perfect.
And so let's talk about John. What do we say about him?
Well, we talked
a little bit about him last time.
But I mean, one of the things for him, and all these guys, by the way, you've mentioned, I think we both agree are big influences, on us. But also the why we picked them is because these really feel like, as far as this era of guitar players, these are really, some of the most significant.
Yes.
From then until now, guitar players as far as impact on other players on guitar and even other instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And
agreed.
And one of the things that John McLaughlin brought to the table, which was playing odd times and bringing in influences from world music, from music from different cultures, particularly Indian music.
Yes,
and so he had and also just like his band, the Mahavishnu Orchestra, was like kind of like the original heavy metal jazz band.
Yeah.
Played like with Marshall stacks and Les Paul, and then a double neck guitar, and just screaming loud, but very intense.
Yes.
The most intense, maybe even ever, as far as jazz fusion guitar player. And then he turned around and he did stuff on acoustic guitar, and did real sensitive stuff, did Indian stuff, a lot of things with acoustic guitar and more straight ahead playing. Just all kinds of different stuff.
Very versatile, very versatile cat. And very, the odd time thing is definitely big with him. And he has a way of writing tunes that are, like, there's something in it always that's also very simple, that like kind of like can get people to, even if it's some crazy time signature, they don't worry about that. They can just listen to it.
Yeah, well, like the tune we're going to play is a blues.
Yeah, it's basically a blues.
But it just happens to be in 11/4.
It's in 11 beats instead of 4. Yeah.
Cool, then you get more blues.
Yeah, you get even more.
More blues.
Cool. So, okay, you want to take it away?
Yes.
That was fantastic. You really lit up the boards with that one. Yeah, a lot of great comments. Cool. But I have a great comment from Jim. He says the acoustic songs, which is the song I did before this, the acoustic song reminds me of my record distribution days distributing ECM. Very nice.
Ooh, good.
So, and Jim also sent a tip in. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
As did Tiffany. So, thank you. Every little bit helps. No amount is too small.
Thank you,
no
Tiffany.
amount is too large. So, if you want to, like I said before, if you're watching this on an archive, you're listening to this on the podcast, you can still tip at whenever you like. Just go to the link. You'll see it in the chat rooms, and go to our website. You can find it. So every little bit helps to put this on. We want to keep this going, and your help helps. I don't know how else to say it. So was that our last tune of the night?
We're out of tunes.
I think so, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't get to play the encore claps, but next time.
Yes.
We get History of Jazz Guitar Part 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, hey, I want to thank our guests. Let's get some close-ups here. Brad Rabuchin. There he is. Everybody. Oh, let's get the audience in there. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you,
They
thank
love
you.
Brad. And then, of course, Jeff Miley. They like him just as much. There you go, Jeff. You guys were fantastic. This was a really good episode. And like I said, where am I? There I am. This format's a little different. We usually do a lot more talking about personal histories and everything, but this was really nice to have you guys on, and they are saying they do like this format, so we'll have to come up with more ways to do things like this.
Cool.
With not just necessarily guitars, but whoever we can bring in to do more discussion of what to listen to and how to listen. And we've actually talked about doing a how to listen to jazz 101 thing with the whole rhythm section, so we'll have to plan on that sometime.
That's cool. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to play our outro video. Come hang out Thursday for Conganas. And if you're out there, like the videos, please follow us, subscribe, whatever the venue, whatever you're watching on says to do. And hopefully check out the podcast. If you listen to that, this is episode 12 of the podcast. So we've got quite a bit up there for you to pick and choose from. And this one will hopefully be released by the weekend once I clean up the audio and everything. So anyway, thank you again out there. We will see you soon. Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us at Live at 0 BPM. These videos we archived on YouTube and Facebook, so tell your friends. These Jazz Roundtable shows will also be released as a podcast, so please subscribe. Coming up on Thursday, September 9th, it's Conganas featuring Christian Moraga, Enzo Villaparedes, Fermin Cifontes, and Renee Camacho. Showtime, 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific. And as always, it's free, though donations are greatly appreciated. Go to live@0bpm.com for details and to sign up for our mailing list. Also, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. See you soon.